Commander Pritz says, "What else do you want? Always happy to aid a fellow outsider, or higher, especially when it leads to more dead rogues." "How is the war going?" "It's been a difficult struggle. The rogues are relentless. The rebels infiltrated the Reaches early in the war, and it has been a challenge to locate and dislodge them in the wastes. And yet, I am sustained by my beliefs. They keep me fighting when all seems lost." "Who is creating the rogues?" "I'm not sure. Perhaps there are rogue lifecrafters hiding in the desert. Perhaps the rebels are still landing rogues on the southern shore under cover of darkness. Or, most likely, the rogues are breeding, and each new generation has an innate hatred of our kind. In this case, we will never be free until we smash all their nests." "Do you ever go out and fight yourself?" "Of course. Few know the hills and paths south of the Zephyr Oasis better than me. Our soldiers best learn how to function out in the wastes by example." "Tell me about your beliefs." "Once, when I was young, I heard of a sect called the Trekovites. Few have heard of them. They believe that shaping itself is evil and must be ended. I am ashamed to admit that I flirted with joining them, even though they are rightly hunted by the Shapers. The reason is that I feared and mistrusted creations, even when they seemed to serve us." "What happened then?" "I realized that the Trekovites were wrong-headed. Yes, shaping is very dangerous, but only because we tolerate insubordination among creations. I resolved to take the best part of their beliefs. I hunt the bad creations, the sort the Trekovites hate, and that hunt will go on as long as necessary. Farther, in fact, than any of us may have suspected." "What do you mean?" "Who knows how many creations have the seeds of rebellion in them? Perhaps when we look closely enough, we will see that none of them live up to our standards. What then?" He is distracted when he says it, lost in thought. But then he breaks the tension with a laugh. "But I am lost in philosophy. Let me quit boring you." "Right. Tell me about the Zephyr Oasis." "A harsh place, unforgiving to the unprepared. But I was born here, and I can see its beauty. If only we could purge it from the rogues and filth that infected it, could be paradise." "The filth?" "Rebels, weak-minded and unrestrained creations, everything that has spent the last few years taking away our peace and killing our friends and families." You hire traveling adventurers." "I do. It is such a struggle keeping the rogues from our gate that I lack soldiers for many of the tasks I am required to do. There's a delivery I need done, to an outpost not far to the east. There have been sightings of a Drakon to the south, not far from the shore. I could use someone to investigate." "Perhaps I can make that delivery?" "Excellent. I have several scrolls that need to be taken to the research outpost to the east. Dura Purity Workshop, I think it's called, to be delivered to Platano. Just Platano, an outsider like us." He hands you several scrolls, tightly bound by a strip of leather. "Show the scrolls to the guards, and you should be able to get in easily. You will be paid upon delivery." "I'd like to know more about the Drakon." "Well, some soldiers on patrol claim that they saw it. I'd think it was their imagination, but it's hard to hallucinate something that big. It was seen near the ocean, due south of here. The road directly between the Oasis and the shore is heavily trapped. You may need to find a long way around. Investigate thoroughly and let me know if you find any signs of the creature. If there's a Drakon here, it must be hunted down immediately." "I think I can do that. By the way, I have heard that the bandit Benhold might be hiding in your lands."
Benhold is a myth. The Shapers have declared it, just something the brigands talk about to make themselves seem more important than they are. The Shapers said it, it is the official truth." "But if this clue you have is correct, and you did find a bandit calling himself Benhold and remove him, I will give you a generous bounty."
"Do you think Benhold exists?"
"Why, if such a man existed who could torment and evade the Shapers for so many years, one would have to live his whole life in the desert to be mad enough to think such a thing is possible. But I will tell you this. The Dara Reaches has many valleys, many hidden paths, the sort of places where one could easily create a lethal ambush."
There's Platano, Drakon sighting, Benhold. Well, we do have a clue. Back in Thistlewood. You will come to my keep in the White Wastes. Look for an abandoned camp with pens for raising creations. Ask the nomads. They will know the place you seek. We'll definitely be keeping our eye open for that. That said, it's now time to actually look through the rest of this goddamn place. This small corner of the Zephyr Oasis is much nicer than the rest of this dusty town. Small, lovely flowers and trees, modified to be able to stand the harsh environment, are planted along the path. The air almost feels cooler and fresher here. A small home has been built against the massive outer wall of the settlement. There are several guards keeping watch on it, trying to remain discreetly out of sight. Someone important must live here. Well, let's see who lives here. Ah, I get it. There is a woman sitting at this table, sipping tea and sewing. She is in her 40s, I suspect, very attractive and in clothes that are almost fashionable. The home itself is also out of place. All of the materials, like the stone, wood, and tapestries, were brought from the north. This room seems like it belongs in one of the great Shaper cities, not this remote outpost. The woman looks sternly up at you from her seat. Though she is small and delicate, she is no wilting flower. I am Constant Lena, companion of Sage Taygen, of the Council. I prefer not to be burdened by unexpected guests. I'd like to know about Sage Taygen. She doesn't look up from her stitching. He is in the throne room taking care of the city's affairs. You would do best to go there and deal with him. If you want to see me, I'm sometimes in the throne room with him. And this is his home? It is, and I do not think he would appreciate visitors barging in like you have, unless you think it is wise to anger a member of the council. Why aren't you in the throne room now? She takes a sip of tea. I'm but an outsider. It makes people uncomfortable to see me at Taygen's side, so though he would prefer me there always, I know what is politic. I suppose that makes sense. Consort Lena continues to sew, making long sequences of delicate, intricate stitches. She doesn't look at you, but you are sure that she is aware of everything you do. What do you think of Sage Taygen's laws about the creations? She looks up at you, surprised. Sage Taygen is a member of the Shaper Council. His words about what to do with the creations are law, merely by the fact that he says them. The world has gone mad. Taygen is trying to bring it peace. That is all you need to know. Good day. She returns to her work. Well, okay then. And that's the consort, I guess. Nothing else to really say about that. Couple creations under control. The docks, it looks like, with a couple merchants. There are several merchants around the docks, supervising the unloading of goods and looking for customers. Barges frequently carry loads of supplies up and down this river. Speaking with the merchants, you learn two things. They are from the Storm Plains, and they consider the people of Dara Reaches to be paranoid and neurotic at best. I thought that was... I guess... No. Fine. Won't open that. It's probably storage room, I'd imagine. Oh, that's actually just a rear entrance, so we didn't need to open that. Delivery entrance! Okay. And this is a south exit, which leads to... Oasis Fields. Interesting. Okay, then. Back further to the eastwards directions. Let's see. What's around here, anyway? Around the outside? Just nothing, it looks like. Okay, then. I saw a sign for this, which says what? Rabena's Ironworks. Okay. There is a large, muscular woman working at the forge. She is not used to it. Her hands are burnt and blistered, and she is drenched in sweat. However, she is slowly managing to repair a javelin head. Inexperienced, but not hopeless. Excuse me. When you enter, she is eager to take a rest. She steps back from the heat and says, I am Rabena. This... She indicates the smithy with a sweep of her hand. This is my forge. Only mine. It is impossible to miss the bitterness in her expression when she says the last two words. Can I see your wares? Huh. Pure steel. She's got pure steel stuff. Ooh, Girdle of Genius. Impressive. And a Girdle of Life, too. She has some very nice stuff here. You run the smithy by yourself? I do. Once I didn't. I assisted my husband, but then he was lost. But you knew enough to continue the work? I watched him and aided him for years. I hope to keep this place functioning until I can find someone to buy it from me. But I despair of that happening before the war ends. Oh, what happened to him, if you don't mind my asking? He was going to the eastern camp, delivering some locks and shackles, and then... a rogue raid. Creations murdered him. I don't like to talk about it. Was he skilled? Very much so. He was even learning to work pure steel. He was very close when he died. Really? Who around here knows how to work it? Due south from here, near the shore there... I really shouldn't say. Well, thank you for the hint. Rabena speaks softly of affairs in the Zephyr Oasis with you, being careful to avoid any discussion of rogues, laws, or the war. She also applies salve to her burns and scratches. How have things been in the Oasis lately? Improving. Sage Taygen understands the truth. He sees what creations can do to us, what they want to do to us. If they get a chance, they would take everything from us. And I am not afraid to say it in front of an unchained creation. I am not afraid. Sage Taygen will make sure that we are not afraid anymore. And what do the creations think about this? I do not care. The creations who murdered my husband did not ask what he thought, and they still didn't care when they did what they did to him afterwards. Oh dear. What will Sage Taygen do about them? I have heard rumors. I do not want to talk about it. I just have faith that he will free us from fear of them forever. Well, that's all for now, thanks. Looks like I see a sign up there, so I'll take a look at that. This is Santella's Bazaar. Alright. That must be Santella. The Zephyr Oasis has been a meeting place for caravan routes since before the days of the Shapers. Once this dusty town was full of bazaars and shouting merchants. Now in wartime only this small bazaar remains functional. A single old woman looks after the wares by the walls. Her wrinkled skin is deeply tanned, and age and decades of sunlight have left her hair nearly white. Her eyes are very sharp. You don't savor negotiating with her.
Many greetings to you on this bright day. I'm Santella, once merchant master, now regrettably a trader and breeder in the safety of this town.
I'd like to trade with you.
Of course, I can buy any useful trade goods you have, and I have a variety of items of interest for adventurers and mercenaries.
What do you have for sale? Quite a lot of stuff. Ooh, crystals. Very nice. I think I could use a couple nature healing pods. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I think that's all I need for now. Anything we need to sell? Nothing in particular. Oh, actually, we do have a gemstone to sell. Okay. I don't need anything else.
Does conversation interest you, perhaps?
You led caravans.
Once I was a student. I had promise, but I was called by the road. I passed through many lovely lands, and yet the stark beauty of the Dare Reaches called me to stay.
How long ago was that?
Why, you come dangerous close to asking a lady her age. Surely you have better manners than that. Have some tea.
What did you study? She holds out her hand, palm up. A tiny dancing orb of light appears over it, bobbing and shimmering. She closes her fist and the light is snuffed out.
I have studied much, mastered much over my lifetime, and yet now the peaceful life of a shopkeeper is for me.
Is your life really that peaceful?
No. Recently I have had to kill rogues. Perhaps I will again soon. I'll not shirk from it if it is needed. What do you wish? I trade, I breed. I'm sure I can somehow be of use to an intrepid traveler like yourself.
What do you breed?
I have pens for breeding batons and living tools. Small creations of great value.
What does the law say about that?
Very little. Sage Taygen's new regime is harsh, but it only restricts creation that move under their own power. Plants and tool creations are unrestricted. Thus I am allowed the pens I maintain outside of town. There's a great need for batons and thorns with which to defend the city.
That's all for now, thanks. Servile. There is a servile here working at keeping the walkways clean and swept. Considering how much dust blows in from the south, it is a futile quest. You immediately note two things about him. First, he is a small servile with delicate hands. He is the sort that was bred to be a scribe or lab assistant. Second, there is a metal ring around his waist, probably to help lock him up easily at night. He sees you staring at him.
I am Tan. Excuse me. Sweeping.
What is that metal loop for? He holds up his hand. You note that the metal loop has a small ring to one side, definitely for keeping him chained up at night.
Is to help me obey law, keep me secure.
Does it hurt?
Did hurt. Skin grows thick. Now almost never notice it. Almost never.
Why do they keep you chained up?
To keep me from escaping. To keep me still if any rebel serviles come in the night.
He doesn't want to say anything else about that, understandably. Tan continues to sweep silently, making slow, sad circles around you as he gathers up the dust. He seems to take little satisfaction in this pointless work. You seem unusual for a street sweeper.
Was a scribe, an assistant in palace. Arranged scrolls, took notes, could read and write.
He looks over at the palace, a sad, wistful look on his face. Are there many educated serviles in the Dara Reaches?
Do not know. So many taken away, probably put to work in fields, in mines. Who knows how many there are now? Left, I mean. But his law, must obey. Serviles have no choice.
Why did you have to stop doing it?
Change in laws. Was thought too smart, to not be close to what I made to do. Put to work, doing this.
He holds out the broom.
Could be worse.
How could it be worse?
He looks down at the ground and says two words. The camps. Must work. Must sweep. If I do, I am safe. He walks away quickly, sweeping as he goes. You don't seem happy. I should not talk like this. Stay away, you will get me punished. He walks away quickly, rearranging the dust with his broom as he goes. That is very, very concerning. That leads to Camp East Alpha, compared to Camp West Alpha, which we know was overrun. Okay, back to the Oasis for the last bit. Alright, all that's left is the corner up here. More of these creations. Turns out that there are several powerful creations in town here to help defend the gates in case of rebel attack. They spend most of their time in chains, covered with dust and underfed. They are unfortunate creatures. They also look like they have been made very recently. Perhaps the Shapers here absorb and recreate their creations frequently. As we now know. Quite well, in fact. Oh, what's back here? Weird. I'm sorry. More stew. I'm coming in. More stew. There are 2 serviles working in this kitchen, here to feed visitors and merchants. It is mostly exposed to the outside, and the customers eat at 2 long tables outside. The serviles are very quiet and nervous. You aren't able to get them to talk to you. They think that you're trying to trick them. Let's see. Federa. There is a tired-looking man sitting at this table, gnawing on a roll and drinking a mug of bitter herbal brew. He motions for you to sit down across from him. He seems to want company. I'm Federa, of Camp East Alpha. I came here to get help. I need to talk to someone to calm my nerves before I see the Shapers. What is Camp East Alpha? It is a creation camp just outside of East Gate. It is where the field serviles and many of the defending creations are kept when not working or on patrol. I look after the camp, tend to the creations, and keep them secure. And how do the creations like being in the camps? We've not had enough resources. It is hard to get enough food, enough firewood, and someone to care for the wounded and sick. But this is a time of war. There are many sacrifices to be made by all of us. Things will improve soon. Why were the camps built? 2 reasons. First, to keep the creations under watch so that rebels can't come in and breed dissent. Second, so that when we see a creation that isn't shackled or in a camp, we know that it is a rogue. Fedora is still sitting at the table, brooding and drinking his bitter green tea. More talking? Out of mind. I hate facing Shapers. Why do you need to see the Shapers? It is the camp. I'm an outsider. I'm not used to creations, commanding them, seeing how they look at me. I try not to speak to them, but I know that I try not to speak to them, but I know that they do not like the camps. They seem more insolent. I'm not sure how to proceed. Creations don't like being in camps? Shocking. Yes, I was told that they would obey the Shapers. It would not be difficult. It was that way at first, but as time went on, the way they look at me, it unnerves me. What do you want the Shapers to do? I hate asking them for help. I'm an outsider, but things have gotten worse lately. The serviles are angrier, slower to obey, more whispering. I need someone to go there. I need someone to investigate and see if something is making them rogue. If anything goes wrong, I don't want to be blamed. Perhaps I can go there and look around. Can you? I know from looking at you, you're the sort who can understand creations. The camp is outside the gates to the east. I don't know how to relate to creations. Maybe you do. Maybe you can tell if one has gone wrong. We will. What sort of tea is that? Bark, cactus, old nomad drink. Keeps me moving. The nomads are gone, but this foul, useful stuff remains. These camps, the way they're talked about, it is extremely worrying and extremely concerning. I worry about what they are. Denna. That sounds familiar. There is a woman in a leather jerkin sitting in the back of this room. She's cleaning and feeding her baton. When she sees you, she immediately slaps a cluster of thorns into it and holds it ready. She's more tan and slender than when you last saw her in Mara, but you recognize her instantly. It is Denna, the rogue who offered you information about your past and fled without delivering. She rolls her eyes. Of course, as if I didn't have just enough problems. You find me, and now there will be threats and drama, even though you can't attack me here, and it would be a mistake even if you could. Why shouldn't I kill you? Because then the guards will kill you. The Shapers don't allow such thuggery in their cities. You're already very suspect. Unsecured creations, you know? You cheated me! Well, of course! You walking around Mara all mopey and hangdog? I heard rumors of the mystery Shaper. I suspected I could get your help by dangling it in front of you. And I was right. But I apologize if that helps. and you gained or regained valuable lessons on the subject of trust. You don't know about my past. Oh, honey, of course not. And anyway, the future is all that matters. A lucky person has a chance to earn a generous reward from me. But don't try to get me killed. That would be so ungracious. Who do you work for? Whoever pays me. Anyone who has something that needs doing and proper compensation available. I'm like you, an adventurer. I get things done, keep the world spinning. But you had me steal from the Shapers. Perhaps for the rebels, perhaps for another Shaper. Who knows? I certainly don't. Maybe I did, but I forgot. And you don't care about the morals of it? Do you? Yes, I do. Of course, there are some wretches I won't work for, some factions it is suicidal to ally with, but I suspect I have far less blood on my hands than you. Yeah, you go ahead and say that. Could one of those jobs be to find out who I am? No, I could waste an incredible amount of time failing to answer that question. We would both be better off if I just made something up. But if you truly care, I have heard that there is a sage living to the south. She is supposed to have great powers of sight. She might be able to help. And I'll tell you that for free. Oh, thanks for that, at least. Denna sits with her baton across her lap. She is trying to look casual, but you know that she is ready to defend herself in an instant. You are hiring for another job. Not from you, and your sweet tongue won't convince me either. You're a little close to the Shapers for my tastes. If you say so. You're lucky you're in here where I can't kill you. We'll have our revenge eventually, I imagine. For what was done. Merchant's quarters. Pay serviles for food and lodging. You know what? I think we can use a single living... Wait a second, that guard looks... Oh, it's just an Oasis card. I think we can use this single living tool to look in here. Oh, wait, there's a guard in here. Okay, fine, never mind. It was a waste of a tool. Alright. Well, that's the end of the Oasis. And from what we've learned, things are very under control here. Nobody is going to go anywhere or do anything, at least creation-wise. They have everything under control. There's no creation problems. But the idea of these camps, the way they're spoken of, I don't know. The cost, I worry about it. Next episode, we'll figure out somewhere to go and something to do. Till then, I am Chester44, that is E-King and Shuriken. This has been a Geneforge 5 Let's Play, and I will see you all next time.